In order, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Felder,
Here.
Hayter. Here. Stilgrave. Here. Vining. Here. Germaine.
Here.
Stringham. Here. Mayor Clark.
Here. So next is public comment. Any comment from those present here this evening? Any public comment? Seeing none, next item, please.
The next item is the work session agenda, and it's the presentation fiscal year 2024-25 financial audit.
Thank you. How quickly a year goes by, correct? So I see Mr. Sells coming forward, Manager Robinson, if there's nothing.
We'll introduce our wonderful auditors from Plant Moran who spent several weeks with us, and they'll give our financial audit for the 24-25 fiscal year.
Excellent, thank you. Mr. Sell.
Yeah, not much more to say than that, other than we start the audit process shortly after Labor Day every year, and the auditors are usually here on site 2 to 3 weeks, and then we work on getting to this point through the fall, and we're finally here, thank goodness. So they're here to present the kind of summarized format of the results of the audit. I would say if you're interested in reading more of a summarized view of the financial statements, there's a letter in that link that I sent you for what's called the Annual Comprehensive Financial Report. That the whole report is there, but if you just want to read in a little more summary format about what's there, there's a management discussion and analysis letter there that kind of lays things out in a much more simple format. So with that being said, I will introduce Bill and Alyssa here from Plant Moran, and they're here to do the presentation.
Thank you and welcome.
And good evening, everybody. So as mentioned, I'm Bill Brickey with Plant Moran, the audit partner in your account, and with me today is our associate, Alyssa Fleury. And we really here to provide a summary of the June 30, 2025 audit results. So when we talk about the audit, there's really 4 separate deliverables that are issued. So there's the financial statements, which Ed just preferenced, the annual comprehensive financial report, which includes our audit opinion. We have the audit of federal awards, which is often referred to as the single audit. That's an audit of your compliance with federal grants, and I handed that out tonight. Then we have the graph presentation, which we'll go through in just a moment, which really just summarizes some of the key financial information that's included in the audited financial statements. And then finally, we have a report to mayor and members of council. So those are really the 4 core documents that we talk about when we talk about the audit. Certainly, we've covered all these documents in detail with management, and our goal tonight is to provide you a high-level summary and certainly answer any questions you have related to those documents or the audit itself. Before we get going, I want to take just a quick moment and really thank Ed Sell and his entire team for all their assistance throughout the audit. As mentioned, this takes several months from start to finish, and your team just does a great job helping us throughout the process, and we appreciate all of their efforts. So the first item I want to comment on is our main deliverable to you as your auditor is our opinion on your financial statements. So included in the annual comprehensive financial report on page 1 is our opinion. So I did not hand that out tonight, but I'll tell you what it says because it's all good news. So in that opinion, so you did receive what we refer to as an unmodified audit opinion. And essentially that means the financial statements are in compliance with all the rules and regulations. It's really the highest form of assurance we can provide as your auditors, and that is attached to those financial statements. In addition to our opinion on your financial statements, as I mentioned, we also do an audit of your compliance with federal grants. And in the current year, the city received just over $2.2 million in federal funding. And I did pass out that audit report tonight. On the cover, it says, audit of federal funds. And so the city received $2.2 million in federal funding. And so we specifically tested your compliance with the American Rescue Plan funds. And in the current year, the city spent about $620,000 of the remaining ARPA funds. And we really tested, were you in compliance with the rules and regulations for the spending of that money? And I'm happy to report that you were. So when you look at that audit report, you also received unmodified opinions on your compliance with the grant funding. Also want to point out that included in that report, on the very last page, page 10, there's sort of like a little report card in there. And if you looked at it, all the boxes are checked no. So that means we did not have any audit issues, we didn't have any internal control weaknesses, we didn't have any audit findings that require disclosure. So overall, when it comes to both audits, the financial statements and that audit of federal compliance, really clean audit opinions on all of it. So really great news there. The other item I mentioned is we often refer to it as our end of audit report. It's the letter that's addressed to mayor and council. And really what this letter would be is if we had any audit findings, they would be documented in that letter. But as I previously stated, we don't. So as you review that letter, it really talks about our responsibilities as your auditor and kind of what happened throughout the audit as far as the engagement. And ultimately, we completed the engagement as planned. And so just a lot of general language in there. The one item I will point out in there is included on page 2. And we make reference to the city adopting a new accounting principle. So that's GASB number 101. Essentially what that was is there was a new accounting pronouncement that changed the way you value or estimate your compensated absence liability for your employees, so kind of their sick and vacation time. It didn't change the way you pay or the way you budget, really just the way that you measure that liability and report it in the financial statements. And the main reason I point that out is that standard was applied retrospectively, meaning when you look through the financial statements, you may see words like restatement of net position, restatement of fund balance, things like that. And that really just relates to the implementation of that standard and us changing the beginning balances to implement that standard. The liability for your comp time increased about $650,000, which was kind of pushed back to the prior year through the statements. But again, everything was done correctly there. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Alyssa, and we're going to go through the graph presentation here, and certainly along the way, feel free to ask. Alyssa?
Thanks, Bill. So I'm going to cover a few slides that are going to highlight some of the activity in the general fund. So you should have those slides in front of you. So this first slide here is just showing a trend of general fund revenue over the past 3 years. So in total, revenue remained fairly steady over the years, from $22.4 million this year from last year's $22.35 million. So an increase of only about $90,000. That red-orange bar at the bottom, that makes up your largest source of general fund revenue, which is property taxes, accounting for about $14.7 million of the total revenue in fiscal year 25. It has remained pretty stable compared to last year's $14.5 million. The other buckets remained pretty steady year over year, similar to the total. This slide represents the city of Monroe's total taxable value trending from 2008 through 2025 and projecting out to 2030. So this reflects, you can see in the late 2000s, the large dip for the recession, and it slowly increased. And then most recently, there was another dip in this bar related to a settlement with one of your largest taxpayers. So this just kind of shows that you haven't quite gotten back to the levels as of 2008. And that's kind of why that property tax was pretty steady year over year that we saw in the last slide. This next slide is, again, taking a look at the general fund, but this time expenditures on a budgetary basis. So expenses for the city decreased from 2024 by only about 1.6%, or $376,000, dropping from $22.47 million to about $22.1 million. There are a few fluctuations here, but the largest is going to be that public safety expenses line. This increased about $575,000 over last year, and this is partly due to the reduction in ARPA support that Bill mentioned earlier. So in fiscal year 25, only about $188,000 of police and fire wages were recorded in the ARPA fund compared to $460,000 last year. So this next chart is also showing general fund expenditures just by function. So as you can see in that orange part of the graph, public safety continues to represent the largest share of expenditures, accounting for about 47% of the general fund in fiscal year 25. This is a significant increase from 44% last year, and again, just relates to those ARPA funds and less of them in this year. It is also important to note that retiree healthcare costs related to public safety are included in the debt service category shown on this graph. And if you flip to the next slide, this slide shows similar expenditures, but then adjusted for those debt service expenditures to allocate the OPEB debt service by function. So on this graph, you can see when factoring in that OPEB bonds, 51% of the city's general fund expenditures went to public safety, 16% to general government, 14% to public works. On the next slide, we show revenue and expenditures trend on a budgetary basis over the last 4 years. So the main thing to see here on this slide is that the city's primary revenue source, being property tax and state shared revenue, have slowly increased. So the city has carefully navigated the expenditures to address funding needs, for example, retiree healthcare, while still keeping total expenditures in check with the revenue. This next slide is showing the past 2 years of the general fund's fund balance. So non-spendable over on the left side primarily relates to real estate inventory, land held for sale. This decreased slightly over the year. Committed fund balance represents the cemetery fund balance, which decreased again this year. Assigned fund balance represents amounts set aside by city management for next year's budget, which is slightly increased due to some contractual increases in capital items. Lastly, on the right, the largest bar is unassigned fund balance, which increased about 73,000 from 4.1 last year to 4.17 this year. This next slide shows that total fund balance compared to annual expenditures, along with unassigned fund balance compared to annual expenditures, as that unassigned fund balance is what is available to be used. So total fund balance of about 8.16 million at year end. Of this, however, only about 4.18 is in that unassigned bucket, which again is that portion available for everyday spending. So that orange bar on the far right is going to show your 2026 budgeted expenditures of about 22.6 million. So that unassigned fund balance represents approximately 18.5% of that 2026 budgeted expenditures. It is the city's policy to maintain this ratio at or above 15% to be considered financially healthy. So you are slightly over that 15%. This last slide here just has a couple other key takeaways. So again, that adequate unassigned fund balance that meets the minimum policy requirement. And then the pension plan is 82% funded as of June 30, 2025, and the OPEB plan is at 149.5% funded. Some other key points here, the water and sewer rates are aligned with operating costs and capital reserve needs. And then lastly, there was an aggressive capital funding program this year with about 16.1 of additions in the governmental activities and about 12.2 million in the business type. So happy to take any questions now, and of course, our contact information here is here as well.
Well, thank you, Alyssa and Bill. I'll see if there's any questions or comments from City Council on the slide presentation. Obviously, there's first opportunity to see this. If there's additional questions later, I know Mr. Sell, City Manager, and even Plant Moran will be available to provide some clarity if there's any questions. I think it's very similar to what we discussed last year, and as was presented, very close in not just numbers, but in the growth or items in which they were expended for. Any questions? I know the comment was made on the public safety. We're all aware of the funds we had that was received, how the transition went through the public safety, and now we're kind of back after the those federal funds that were available to implement the great projects that got done in the last 2 years as well. So I think it was explained well. Thank you. Any questions or comments? I see none.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Bill, Alyssa. Ed, anything further you want to share with? If not, that's fine. We can move forward.
Not too much there. I mean, I'd just like to thank Plant Moran too. They're a big help to us in getting to this point every year. So they're like almost another staff member for us. Sometimes it feels like, but they do a lot of great work for us. So I'd like to thank them. I mean, going forward, I have been reviewing this year's budget and probably will present a budget amendment to you for the general fund at least in January. But it's looking fine so far, so I think we're looking good. The one slide they put up there that showed the assigned fund balance showed an assigned fund balance of about $450,000 roughly. And you'll see that in this year's budget because it shows that we're spending about 475,000 more than our revenue this year, but that's because of that assigned fund balance that's in there is being spent in the next fiscal year. So, so all in all, things look pretty good.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Manager Robinson, any other final comments?
Other than I appreciate all the work they put into this, and as well as Ed and his staff, and even the other directors, that when they came and they had questions, it was just a pleasant experience all the way around. So thank you.
And I sure, as we move forward into next year and we obviously get through the first meeting, we have our work session. We'll talk about not just goals and objectives, but kind of strategic visioning as well. I think as a foundation, we take this with us in that meeting to understand where we are in a financial sense, and also what may be some of the, I'll say, forecast or projection that we look at in the future, and obviously insight from Mr. Sell and his regarding our revenues. I don't have anything further unless there's a final comment from council. I don't see any. Thank you so much. I appreciate the presentation, and as always, you and your staff for the great work you do, but also while you're here and interact with our staff and personnel has always gone very well. So I just want to say thank you. Thanks. Manager Robinson, anything further? That's the only item on the agenda. Okay.
Work session agenda, unless the council has questions about anything that on the regular agenda.
This is the opportunity. We have about 12 minutes before we start our next meeting, but doesn't mean we have to linger here if we have nothing to say, so, or nothing to ask. So if I don't see anything further, I'll close the work session. Very well. Close the work session, and we'll be back at 6:30 for our special meeting. Thank you. Call the city council special meeting to order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Felder.
Here.
Hader. Here. Grave. Here. Vining. Here. Jermaine.
Here.
Stringham. Here. Mayor Clark.
Here. Next item is
The next item is any public comment.
public comment. Any comments from those present here this evening? Any public comment? Seeing none, next item, please.
The next item is consideration to enter into closed executive session.
Thank you, Manager Robinson. I think we have a couple items that we're special closed executive session, correct?
Yes, Your Honor, the city manager evaluation discussion as well as the attorney-client privilege correspondence from Mr. Buds.
Okay. With that, a motion, Councilwoman Jermaine, or Stringham, I'm sorry.
I'll make a motion to enter into closed executive session for the purpose of city manager evaluation discussion and attorney-client privilege correspondence.
Second.
Motion from Councilwoman Stringham, supported by Councilman Felder, to go into closed executive session for the items stated. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Felder.
Yes.
Hader. Steelgrave. Yes. Vining. Yes. Jermaine.
Yes.
Stringham.
Yes.
Mayor Clark.
Yes. Motion by Councilwoman Jermaine, supported by Councilwoman Vining to go back into session. Clerk, please, I'm sorry, all in favor, say aye. Aye. And if there's any other comments or questions, if not, I need a motion to adjourn the special meeting.
Second.
Motion from Councilman Hayter, supported by Councilman Felder to adjourn the special session. Good. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Very well. We have about 3 minutes. Clerk, when you're ready.
Okay,
Okay.
I think I'm ready.
Okay. We'll call the city council meeting to order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Felder,
Here.
Hayter, Stillgrave, Vining, Jermaine, Stringham, Mayor Clark.
Here. Next item.
Invocation.
Okay. And pledge of allegiance. Yep, please stand.
Grant us the strength to manage the challenges ahead and the wisdom to identify opportunities as we strive to serve our community. As we make decisions, grant us the gift of an open mind, the willingness to learn, and the humility to accept the ideas of others. Please help us recognize diversity as a blessing and unity as our strength.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, next item, please.
The next item is the approval of the regular agenda.
Robinson, any adjustments to the agenda?
The administration has no adjustments to the
And
agenda.
let's see if council has any. If not, I need a motion to approve the regular agenda.
Motion to approve the regular agenda.
Motion by Councilman Hayter, support by Councilwoman Stillgrave to approve the regular agenda. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Felder?
Yes.
Hader? Yes. Stillgrave? Yes. Vining? Yes. Jermaine? Stringham?
Yes.
Mayor Clark?
Next item, please.
The next item is the consent agenda, and for item B, approval of payments, the amount should read $1,601,896.12, 1601896.12.
Thank you. Are there any items on the consent agenda that council wishes to have pulled for further discussion? Any items on the consent agenda council wishes to have pulled for further discussion? Seeing none, are there any items on the consent agenda those present here this evening wish to have pulled for further discussion? If items remain on the consent agenda, they'll be passed in a single motion. If there's an item that you wish to have a discussion about that's on the consent agenda, it would now be the time to have it pulled. We'll put it at the end of the meeting's agenda. Let's call any comments from any items from the agenda from those present. Seeing none, a motion would be in order. Councilman Felder.
Yes, Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion that all items on the consent agenda be accepted, placed on file, recommendations carried out, and resolutions adopted.
Motion by Councilman Felder, supported by Councilwoman Stringham. All items on the consent agenda be accepted, placed on file, recommendations carried out, and resolutions adopted. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Felder?
Yes?
Hader? Yes. Stillgrave? Yes. Vining? Yes. Jermaine? Yes. Stringham?
Yes.
Mayor Clark?
Next item, please.
The next item on the agenda is under presentations, communications, and public hearings. It's public hearing for proposed ordinance 25-009, rezoning of 114 Cass Street, and there are no comments on file in the clerk treasurer's office.
Thank you. At this time, I'll open the public hearing on item, the proposed ordinance 25-009, rezoning of 114 Cass Street. Any comments regarding this item, item 5635? Any public comments for the hearing? Seeing none, close the public hearing. And clerk, next item, please.
The next item on the agenda is item 5585, ordinance 25-010 for 317 West Front Street parcel zoning classification.
Okay, Manager Robinson, I think this is being put up for the first reading. Is there any additional information for this evening?
Well, I think, yes, Your Honor, and I think if you remember, this was one that we brought in a work session previously, to where when you look at 317 West Front Street, it's a division of a parcel of property from 1 to 3 parcels, as the city is looking to purchase one of those parcels in order to facilitate the Monroe Loop Greenway Trail, just for reference.
Thank you, and we did have this at a work session previously. Any comments from council? If not, looking for a motion to put this on for first reading. Councilwoman Jermaine.
I'll make a motion, move to place proposed ordinance 25-010 on the floor for its first reading on schedule a public hearing and second reading for Monday, January 5th, 2026 at 7:30 p.m.
Motion by Councilwoman Jermaine, supported by Councilwoman Steelgrave on item 5585, ordinance 52-010, 13 West Front Street, the parcel zoning classification for its first reading. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Felder? Yes. Hader? Yes. Stillgrave? Yes. Vining? Yes. Jermaine?
Yes.
Stringham?
Yes.
Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Ordinance 25-010, Chapter 720 zoning, an ordinance to amend the zoning map of Chapter 720 zoning of the Code of the City of Monroe.
Thank you.
The next item is item 5586, proposed ordinance 25-009 for 114 Cass Street zoning map amendment.
Thank you. Manager Robinson, any additional information regarding this?
Yes, Your Honor, as this was the property that we had just held the public hearing on, and for the public's, this was a request from Constiglione Properties to amend the zoning map for 114 Cass Street from a central business district to R3 low-density residential district for future development of the building, to use the building for residential use.
Correct. Any questions from council on this item for management? Councilwoman Stillgrave.
I move that proposed ordinance 25-009 be placed on the floor for its final reading.
Support.
Motion by Councilwoman Stillgrave, supported by Councilman Hayter on item 5586, proposed ordinance 25-009, 114 Cass Street zoning map amendment. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Felder? Yes. Hayter?
Yes.
Stillgrave?
Yes.
Vining?
Yes.
Jermaine?
Yes.
Stringham? Yes. Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Ordinance 25-009, Chapter 720 zoning, an ordinance to amend the zoning map of Chapter 720 zoning of the Code of the City of Monroe. The City of Monroe ordains.
Shall this ordinance pass?
Councilperson Felder?
Yes.
Hayter? Yes. Stillgrave?
Yes.
Vining?
Yes.
Jermaine?
Yes.
Stringham?
Yes.
Mayor Clark?
Yes. Next item, please.
The next item is item 5632, award of 2026 opioid settlement agreement funding grants.
Manager Robinson, any additional information regarding this item or presentation?
Your Honor, this is just we are seeking council's approval to actually distribute the funds that, to award 4 of the 6 entities that that answered our RFP and put in submitted proposals. And if you have any questions, Director Cochran is here to be able to explain a little deeper about that process.
There may be an adjustment in the motion. Maybe I'll get that from from Director Cochran, and then there's a question after that.
Thank you, Director Cochran. It might be me. I didn't notice the 38th Circuit Court on there when we discussed this. I did notice Monroe High School or Monroe Public Schools, and I don't see it on here. I know the manager said there's 6. These are only 4 of the 6. But what was the program that the Monroe County 38th Circuit Court proposed?
Sure. So to give some background information, we talked about this at the December 1st council meeting. We had a work session when we talked about what are the opioid funds, where do we get them, where do they come from, how much do we get, and then also the process that we implemented starting in 2025 to put these funds out into the community where they should be used. And so last year we did issue a request for proposals. We sent it broadly to all the agencies and organizations that do provide services that are eligible according to the Attorney General's office and the settlements. And we did receive proposals last year. Councilwoman, you're correct. One of them was Monroe High School. And we funded them, and we talked about what was their program, what were the outcomes on December 1st, in advance of tonight's discussion. So this year, given all of our grants, because our funds fluctuate from year to year in the sense that we have signed on to different settlement agreements over the years. So we know this coming up year, we're probably going to get about $50,000 to $60,000. But we've had funds in reserve that we haven't spent for a couple years. So we've had a bigger amount saved up. But going forward, that's likely the amount that we'll have to distribute in the community going forward. So this year, we do them on a year basis. So we only do 1-year funds, don't know how much we're going to have available every year. And so the RFP was issued on October 28th, and the proposals were due back to the city on November 28th. We sent them to both returning or recipients who received funds last year, including those who may not have been funded. If you'll recall, there was one agency that wasn't funded last year. And then we also sent them out to all the other organizations that we know provide services. This year, and just as a reminder, we did get a letter, oddly enough, from the Attorney General's office today that reminded us how the funds need to be spent, and they're asking for information from the city on how we have spent those, who we have funded, what are amounts, and so we're preparing to respond to that because other communities haven't, been as diligent in spending their funds or had some confusion on what it could be spent on. So the Attorney General's office is actively watching how these funds are being deployed in the community. So November 28th, the proposals were due this year, and we did receive 6 proposals totaling $186,842 in requests. This year, our availability is about $157,000 that we have on hand right now after last year's awards, plus about $50,000 that we expect to get next year. If you'll recall, there's still one settlement we're waiting to find out how much we'll get. So those are purely estimates. But some of the agencies submitted requests for another year, some did not. So you mentioned Monroe High School Councilwoman, they did not submit a proposal to us this year. So the 6 proposals that we did receive are included in your packet this evening. We received one proposal from Monroe County Opportunity Program, 38th Circuit Court, Selah Center for Hope, Paula's House, RAW, which is Recovery Advocacy Warriors, and then also Monroe Community Mental Health Authority also submitted 2 applications for different purposes. And so with those applications that we received, we looked at those who were funded last year. Were they on track to achieve their outcomes? Again, they have till December 31st to spend those funds and then submit a final report in January. And then those who did not submit last year or who are new requests, such as 38th Circuit Court or Monroe Community Mental Health Authority, all of them were reviewed holistically by the committee. Generally, the criteria was included in your packet tonight with the RFP, what they were scored on. And it's really, do you meet the requirements to deliver the services that are required in the opioid settlement agreements? What is your track record? And the strength also is the Attorney General's office and the settlement agreements are very strong in that evidence-based programs need to be funded. So not so much new programs or programs that don't have a track record of success, but best practices. So we looked at all of the organizations that submitted, and I'll say all of the agencies that submitted had very valid proposals. And I'll take a brief moment just to go through those for the benefit of the public that didn't read all of the applications. But Monroe County Opportunity Program, they requested for the same funds that we did award them last year, $20,000, and we are recommending that full request be funded. The purpose is for prevention of opioid use. Their intent with the funds this year is to work with 200 youth through the Real Media Evidence-Based Prevention Program, specifically targeting opioids with the outcomes to reduce youth intention to use drugs by 70%, equip youth to resist utilization of opioids, so have methods to, if approached or if tempted, have the means and the methods to say no to that. And then also provide opportunities to reduce family harm as a result of substance abuse. So this was a program that we funded last year, and their report was included in your packet in December 1st. And you'll see that they are on target to meet their objectives. And so we're recommending that they be funded again for that program. Also because it's based in the city of Monroe and because a majority of the individuals that they serve are also City of Monroe residents, but they do receive county opioid funding as well. So we looked at that with all of our applicants. Do they also receive outside funding, not just relying on the City of Monroe funding? And MCOP does receive funds from the county opioid settlement as well. Monroe County 38th Circuit Court, what they are asking for funding for is for the Adult Drug Treatment Court Program. And there was a lot of information included in their application that was in your packet tonight. They submitted a lot of the pamphlets, the information that they provide to applicants, the information they provide to the community. But what the drug treatment court program is there is it's called a court panel, and it's represented by a broad cross-section of community representatives from labor, education, healthcare, law enforcement, I believe, and other organizations who provide support and services to individuals who are getting out of jail and re-entering into the community. And so they do provide things like traditional behavioral therapy combined with random drug screens, medically assisted treatment program, or MAT, that's provided by family medical centers, and also peer support specialists through the community panel. And the intent is to reduce reincarceration and return to substance abuse. So it's a wraparound program that's made up of the community to advise the court on how individuals are re-entering the community from incarceration. And so this is just a one-year request. They're asking for $4,875. This position for the program coordinator, it was only partially funded this year, but they do anticipate it will be funded by the state court administrative offices going forward. And the request is for 50% of the program. The other 50% is coming from the county and the county opioid settlement. And so given the intent that it's a one-year request, the sustainability is obviously built in with future court covering of those costs. We're recommending funding for that, and because it is a lower dollar amount as well. Selah Center for Hope. This was an agency that we funded last year. They do have two facilities located within the city of Monroe, and Selah Center for Hope provides housing for homeless women who have just given birth. And they provide wraparound support for those individuals to help them get back on their feet. And so they provide housing, shelter, and also case management and program services for those mothers. Last year, they did use all their funding by the end of the second quarter. So they certainly utilized it and provided the outcomes in the quarterly report. But this year, they are asking for significantly more than the $14,000 we funded last year. Their total request was for $45,632. What those funds that they're requesting and what we're recommending is just a partial of $15,632. And the purpose for that is the case management for the mothers, much like we funded last year. Fully recommending about $3,400 for case management, $3,000 for doula services, and then $2,300 for what's called Lifeline. And this was what they requested the amount. What Lifeline does is those mothers who move out of the house and into independent living, that they still have touch points with somebody who's making sure that they're staying on track and doing well. The other funds that they requested were primarily for facility improvements, which aren't eligible costs for the opioid settlement funds. But they did add a second location over the past year. And one of the challenges that they've identified is mothers who had a cesarean delivery, they have challenges getting upstairs. And the facility that they have right now, the main bedrooms are upstairs. And so they're proposing to expand their capacity to build a new bedroom with a shower on the lower level. And so given it's an increased capacity, one-time capital cost, we're recommending funding for that, and then also some additional exterior lighting for the safety of their residents. Paula's House was another agency that we funded last year. They've asked for $23,100. Where the committee is recommending $20,700. And what this program provides is prevention services for the children whose mother either they live with their mother at Paula's House, or they used to live at Paula's House, and it's equipping those children who are very susceptible to falling into the cycle of substance abuse given the family history, working with them on prevention methods as well. And they are trying to seek additional outside funding as well for that program. So those were the four that were recommended for funding. And it's really looking at what is future capacity to our ability given once we spend down our balance and only have $50,000 to $60,000, what are we going to focus our funding on? The two programs that we're not recommending for funding at this time, one is RAW, Recovery Advocacy Warriors. So their application was for the same thing as last year. What they're requesting is funds to train 3 new facilitators to help train what are called peer support specialists, which help people in recovery or individuals who are seeking treatment get treatment. The committee had some questions about, is there an overlap of funding from last year? Are these three new, or is it finishing the three who started the program last year? So given some of those questions we had in last year's outcomes and how they carry over into this year, we just want to get some more answers for that, but that may be one that comes back to you to continue to fund. And then the two requests from Monroe Community Mental Health Authority, it's primarily the significance of the price is why we didn't feel it was sustainable for us to pay for this. But the one request was for $50,000 to pay for the medication for incarcerated individuals dealing with substance abuse. Because while they may be eligible for Medicaid, Medicaid does not pay for that medication for people who are incarcerated. And given the jail has a medication-assisted therapy treatment program, it was purely given the fact that it's $50,000, and that would take up our whole annual allocation. And looked at, are there other opportunities or funding like the county opioid funds who could help cover the cost of this? And then the other one was staffing, $50,000 for a full-time clinician in the jail who specializes on reentry, the transition from jail to community living. And again, the $50,000, we don't want to pay for a position this year to maybe not be able to fund it next year. And so we're cognizant, looking at stability or sustainability, and also our future opportunities. Would this be a request? And it did indicate in the application that they would be asking for this money every year through our opioid settlement. So that was the recommendation from the committee to not fund the two CMH proposals.
Thanks, Mark. Questions for Mark? And I know there's adjustment to the recommendation that you want to advise us about.
Yeah, the total, you had a recommendation in your agenda packet this evening. It was a little bit off. So the correct amount funding everything that we just went over is $61,207.
Any other questions from council?
Did you say 270?
207. Mm-hmm.
See no other questions? I appreciate the review and, going through those applications and reading all the information. There's much to be considered and so much funds that we can disseminate. So it's, I think the extension of, still considering those that may not have received, and for the points you said, there's maybe opportunities, but also the expansion of the, something that's new that I think does impact us. I think about the court and the partnership with the county's costs as well, but that it should be direct for those that are having potentially incarceration for drug use, when in fact what they should be getting is some assistance and help. So
yeah, and Mayor, if I may just add, again, we did issue and submit this RFP to every agency in Monroe who deals with City of Monroe residents, who deals with substance abuse. And while we didn't get applications from them this year, I anticipate, given how substance abuse treatment dollars flow in the state of Michigan, we may see different people next year that may be applying that didn't apply this year. And so there were many others that we did send this to who didn't apply this year. So we're just, again, looking this year at the ones who actually submitted proposals to us.
sorry, I'm looking for something here. Well, I just, as you explained, all those, I'll say partners with the one, with the court, and also the Faith, Michigan Works Business, were just some additional opportunities to be engaged in that process when you talk about reentry. So, thanks. If there's no other questions, Councilwoman Stringham?
Make a motion, move to award grants from the city's opioid lawsuit settlement agreements to the Monroe County Opportunity Program, Monroe County 38th Circuit Court, Salas Center for Hope, and Paula's House in the total amount of $61,207, and authorize the administration to develop funding agreements to be executed by the city manager and agency officials.
Okay. There's a motion by Councilwoman Stringer, supported by Councilwoman Vining, item 5632, award of 2026 opioid settlement agreement funding grants. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Felder?
Yes.
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 Jermaine?
Yes.
Stringham?
Yes.
Yes. Next item, please.
The next item is item 5631, resolution to establish a semi-quincentennial committee. I was worried about that.
I'd have to practice it. So, Manager Robinson, this resolution, obviously, we've talked about the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence and things within our country. So, anything additional?
Try not to have to say semi-quincentennial too many times because it took me a few minutes to figure that out. But I think it's important that one of the reasons that I requested this to be on the action agenda is I think that because in this committee, we want to involve our local stakeholders, our historical societies, our educational institutions, and other people who want to be involved in this celebration. And there will be opportunities that through this committee, they will also be participating with other local, state, and national groups or organizations that want to commemorate this historical event. So I think it's important that we'll be looking for people who are interested to participate.
Thank you. Any questions from council for this item? I know that we've had some internal group meetings, but it comes to council now for a resolution because we want to establish, now we have some foundational where we may be going, but we want to hear from, as Manager Robbins said, local stakeholders, historical societies, maybe educational institutions, other contributors in our community. So if there's not any questions, this is up for council action. Okay, Councilwoman Germaine.
Move to approve the resolution to establish a semi-quincentennial committee to support the city of Monroe's efforts to commemorate the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence.
Second.
It's a motion by Councilwoman Germaine, supported by Councilwoman Stillgrave on item 5631, the resolution to establish a semi-quincentennial committee. Clerk, please call the roll.
Stillgrave? Vining?
Yes.
Jermaine?
Yes.
Stringham?
Yes.
Mayor Clark?
Yes. Next item, please.
The next item is item 5637, resolution certifying the results of the 2025 City Manager Annual Performance Evaluation.
So, Manager Robinson, but it's on there, but it's for council. I'm looking if the Human Resource Director, Dr. Everly, has any comment, but this is a resolution from for the results of our annual evaluation. Dr. Everly.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. It's a pleasure to be here tonight to bring forth this resolution, and I'd like to thank you for all of your participation and your hard work throughout 2025 in the evaluation conversations of our city manager. The resolution summarizes the evaluation, and it's before you tonight for your consideration.
Any comments or questions for Dr. Everly? Manager Robinson. I'll go to Manager Robinson and back to Councilman Hayter. Manager Robinson, any thoughts or comments as we move forward?
I would just like to thank council for the time and energy that they put into evaluating my performance and setting forth the goals and objectives that you want not only myself to meet, but myself to meet while leading this city to meet your goals and objectives and visions for our city. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Councilman Hayter.
Thanks, Your Honor. I move to approve the resolution certifying the results of the 2025 City Manager Annual Evaluation.
Councilman Hayter, supported by Councilman Stillgrave on item 5637, resolution certifying the results of the 2025 City Manager Annual Performance Evaluation. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Felder? Yes. Hayter?
Yes.
Stillgrave? Yes. Vining? Yes. Jermaine? Yes. Stringham?
Yes.
Mayor Clark?
Yes. Next item.
I have no further items this evening.
It's council comments. Before I say that, Manager Robbins, we look forward to the next year, continue to work as we do and have in the past year, and continue to work for the residents. with our staff that we have and make the successes that we've had here in the past year. So it's good. Councilman Felder.
Thank you, Your Honor. Well, very happy year to the end of the year to everybody. Thank you for the Finance Department's work on the audit, as well as Plant Moran for preparing that for us. A very happy retirement to Director Leroy and Spencer Minacci, and I look forward to working with both of them in the future in a different capacity. I'm certainly proud of the work that we've done this year, and I look forward to the year to come. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, all the stuff. That's all I have.
Councilman Hayter.
Thank you. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone, and look forward to a positive 2026.
Okay. Councilwoman Stelgrave.
This is the final week for Santa's house, and he'll be in there Thursday and Friday from 5 to 8, and Saturday from 2 to 6. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and see all of you next year.
Yes, I'd like to say happy holidays to everyone. And also, yes, this has been a very productive work year. Appreciate the administration, the directors, city manager, and the council and mayor, and the clerk, and the city attorney for working together. And I look forward to our goals and objectives, our strategic visioning, whatever we're gonna call this thing, moving it forward, checking back to see what we can check off for the goals that we've met. I think we've made a lot of progress this year. The downtown also looks great for the holiday season. So again, happy holidays, everyone.
Thank you. Councilwoman Germaini.
Thank you. Well, since Barry's here, I have to congratulate him on his retirement. We're going to miss him here on a bi-weekly basis, but I'm thrilled that you're going to be here on a part-time basis. We get to deal with you for the next year on a contract. And happy holidays, everyone. Enjoy your families as always, and get down there and enjoy Veterans Park and downtown and all the lights, because they are beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Strigham.
Well, I'd add to everybody's thoughts on how great this year has been. I'm coming up on closing out close to my first year, and I've really enjoyed and felt honored to be able to represent the city and my district, and look forward to continuing. I want to draw attention to the newsletter went out today, and it's also on the website. Deck the House Holiday Lights Competition starts today. And I see it looks like some new addresses from last year. So I'm pretty excited to check out all of those. So if you're, don't get the newsletter, sign up for that and go look for the addresses, and you can vote for your favorite one. And hopefully we'll get a little bit of snow again so we can watch those lights with just a little snow, not much.
Thank you. I just have a couple of comments. I'm going to go back to the manager's evaluation just for some more additional information. There's a range of critical components. There's 11 that the council takes comments to, and I appreciate all the comments. And as a result of those, then, as is within the resolution, the city manager's overall performance meets expectation for the 2025 evaluation period. It was complete from all members of council in all of the competency areas. So I thought that was important to say as well. Next, today on the consent agenda, there was a couple items. The employment agreements were mentioned, and I appreciate the work of the staff, and congratulations, Barry and Spencer, as you continue to move forward, but also how we move forward together as we provide our service to the residents here. There's boards and commissions that were on tonight's agenda. There was an appointment to the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority for Allie Races, and also Tyler Loveday from one of our employments on the pension board is going to start his service there. So which really gets to my points that I want to make here as I get to the end of the year. I think comments have been made by council. Much has been done throughout the past year, and we always know that we have things that we're still working toward. I do look forward to the the goals and objectives, which I think with the entire council returning for next year, the opportunity to really have a visioning, strategic focus of how we move forward. There's things that started this year that will continue through next year. It's always that way as terms come through. And as those come to fruition, it's the hard work of the staff that gets us to where we are. And I want to thank all of the employees for all the work they do throughout the year. And the holidays makes it look nice as we look around. That's just one component of much that's done. And I'll say most of what they serve for the community and meet the goals and objectives is sometimes not personally seen, but is recognized by council. So boards and commissions, you've probably heard me say this many, many times. We do not function without the support of the residents on serving on boards and commissions. I see there's at least a couple people here this evening that serve on boards and commissions, and the importance of that. Everybody has an opportunity as a resident if they wish to serve. As Councilwoman Stringham said, the newsletter came out today, and one of the factors there of activity that's going on that the staff put together, but there's service by the boards and commissions. That newsletter goes to near 9,000 different, I'll say, email addresses. Anybody can sign up for the newsletter to be updated on information, but part also is in there, a letter, my communication from the mayor, myself, was about boards and commissions and opportunities and how there's there to serve. I'm going to review some of those here shortly, but if you don't get the newsletter, just go to the city's website, go to the page about receiving the communications, and all you have to do is give your email address. And you can receive that and get updates, but also information that's pertinent to the services we provide, and also learn about some of the staff, because we do times have the employees that will provide the message to the community because of the work they do, and it helps that introduction between our workers and our residents. So there's many boards and commissions, and it's easily found within a list. The council received a packet as well this week because they serve whether as a voting member or as a liaison to many of these boards and commissions. And I know that we've had conversation because there's opportunities sometimes by scheduling or other things where there might be a desire to move to a different board or commission. We'll have that internally, but externally for the residents. And I want to name some specifically because they're all important boards, and some will have reappointments, but also looking for either new appointments or vacancies. And a couple of those that have vacancies that we're looking for residents to serve on is the Citizens Planning Commission, and specifically Precinct 1. I know I talked with Councilman Hayter, and I think about where in Council 1 the opportunities present themselves when you talk about wanting to plan some of the outcomes of what our city does. I know that Councilwoman Vining served on Planning Commission. I had served on Planning Commission before we were elected. It really gives you that broad view of how you work through the process and learn how to make our community work through all departments. The Commission on the Environment, there's unexpired terms that are available. We had those that have moved or passed, and it's one that is, it's not just the river cleanup. There's much that's done within that area. The Local Officers Compensation Commission, we have a person that has moved out of the city, so that is one that is available as well, just a recent. The Monroe Historic District Commission, there are a couple of vacancies, but some of those positions require some background. Like it requires there be an architect, there be somebody that has historic preservation background, and yet also those that are just interested in maintaining our historic districts and housing stock that we have. So anybody could apply. The traffic committee, while it may not sound important, it is when it comes to if it's your neighborhood that you're wondering why you can or can't park or why it's a one or two-way street. Those things are a committee. They just make recommendations to council. It's not something where they have the authority to change the ordinance. It comes back to council. The River Raising Heritage Corridor Advisory Commission has a vacancy as well. And the one that's kind of the Zoning Board of Appeals, looking to make appointments within that area as well. And that's one where the staff has done such a great job in leadership within that team and that department, where we get to yes before it needs to go to the zoning board of appeals. But when it does come to the zoning board of appeals, you learn what the hardship may be, and then you have to make the decision whether it's granted or not. And sometimes not granting things does serve the community well, and sometimes things do get granted because it's an impact that doesn't kind of cascade out to the entire community of what's being given a variance, so to speak. And the last one is River Raisin Watershed Council. This is actually one that a city council member or a resident, if they have an interest, but it's not local. It's we usually meet in Adrian, and they meet twice a year, but they have other meetings as well. That is one that I serve on as a delegate. We also have an alternate position. I could go on, but that's all I'm going to start now. If you have an interest in serving on board and commission, go to the city's website. You go to boards. The application is a simple one page. It doesn't take adding any attachments. You just write what you're interested, why, and look at the boards and commissions. They also have narrative in a very short sense of a couple sentences what each of those do. I usually do this as I walk around and ask people, but I thought this year I'm going to make a public comments about the boards and commissions, because I think we have many people that have an interest but may not quite understand. And if that's not good enough, you can call me here at City Hall, and I'll be glad to have a conversation with you about a board and commission to maybe if you need some additional information. I think I will. Appointments to boards and commissions occur in January and June, depending on how they read and when they were formed. Most come in January. I will stop at that point. Clerk Treasurer Lavoy.
I just have a couple of things. First of all, I wanted to just take a moment and recognize everyone who is working hard in the community this holiday season to make sure that everyone has a holiday, has a Christmas, has a time, has things to celebrate with. And I also wanted to just say that includes our own city council team members here. They work together, they band together, and they work to come together to make someone's holiday a bit brighter, a family's holiday. And I see those efforts, and it's really nice to see everybody working together for that. Now, this is a hard transition, but I'm going to talk about taxes for just a minute. So taxes aren't due until February, but I do know that many people would like to make sure they get them in before the end of the year. The clerk treasurer's office, just a reminder, will be here through the holiday. We, of course, are off for Christmas and for New Year's, but we will have the drop box, and we are here Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8:30 to 4:30, and we do not close for lunch. So you also have the opportunity to pay online as well. And if you have any questions or concerns about your bill, or are unsure how you can get your payment to us, please contact our office and we'll help you out. But we are here through the holidays to help you. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Manager Robinson.
Again, I'd like to thank the city council for the city manager evaluation, and I'd also like to thank my administration and staff and all the employees that work for the city, because it's those are the individuals that are accomplishing for our residents every day, and how much I have appreciation for those, and appreciate our residents as well for being part of our community, letting us know what they want and letting us know how to serve them. And I wish everybody a happy holidays and Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you. So at this time, citizens' comments. If there's those present that wish to make comments, you would just come to the podium, state your name and jurisdiction of residence, and be mindful of the rules of the chambers, 3 minutes. Any comments from those present here this evening? Any citizens' comments?
Any citizen?
Yes, any.
And Elliot James, 633 Stone Street. I'm just wanting to say how proud I am of this council. You see other councils in the other areas tearing their hair out, not you might, and doing odd and crooked things, and we got through this year beautifully. And I didn't get a vote on you. I'd like to say something about the blinking light on the corner of Monroe and 3rd Street and the parking lot across the street that keeps blinking. I think that there should be something done about that. And it'll be my last opportunity to say, I want to work on this bike path around the east end. I want to see about getting some work done on that next year, and I'll be back to remind you.
We look forward to having you back, Mr. James. Appreciate the comment on the light. I'll just add that. I know that staff has, it came up because the one that's just across the street, in the one parking lot, it started with just a light flash. Now it's like a strobe going off. It's just very bright and very fast. But it's some technical issue that they're working on. I appreciate the comment, though. Other comments from those present here this evening? Other comments from those present? Citizens' comments? Seeing none. I just want to thank everybody for a great year. I look forward as we come back in the first of the year and have wonderful holidays with family, friends, and stay close and think of others and do what we can do for others as we go through these the seasonal times and also throughout the next year. Motion to adjourn, please.
Support.
Motion by Councilwoman Germaine, supported by Councilwoman Stringer to adjourn. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Felder?
Yes.
Hayter? Yes. Steelgrave?
Yes.
Vining?
Yes.
Jermaine?
Yes.
Stringham? Mayor Clark?
Yes, and thank you all for being here.